Hi guys, this is Jackie with EDM Identity, and we're here with the progressive powerhouse, Julian Gray and Richard Patrick of 9 Inch Nails and Filter. How's everybody feeling today?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
So Julian, you've been growing sonically over the last few years.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about, exploring those different styles and sounds.
I was releasing a lot of material with the intention of chasing labels and that sort of thing, trying to accelerate the growth of the project. And I kind of hit a wall last year, and I started writing some music with some other incredible creatives. Basically went out to the desert, wrote some new material, and it really inspired me to get back to the roots of the project and really focus on like the creative energy and what got me into writing music initially. I went back to the Julian Gray project after dealing with this collaborative project, and it reinvigorated the creative process. So it kind of shifted the sound a little bit to stuff that's really core to my identity.
So you've also been working on your album Contrast.
Yes.
Which you're dubbing a new era, which you kind of just explained. Yeah. But what makes this LP so different than everything else you've made in the past?
Well, for one, it's my first LP. I've never done a full length. But two, it's an audio visual experience. It's like music, sound, video. It's going to have a fully fledged live show and stuff like that. I've just really paid attention to the creative process a lot more for this record. Me and Richard actually started our record together like a few years ago when I was much more like naive and getting into the production side of it in a professional capacity. So it's kind of like refreshing and a very nice like return to form to the original like core of Julian Gray.
What a good mentor you have as well.
In some ways.
So your new single out here with Richard is coming out soon. Your first single out in almost a year, and it's a beauty.
Thank you.
How does it feel to finally be releasing new music under Julian Gray?
It's great to start releasing again. This long gap has enabled me to approach creativity in a new way, and it's refreshing. But it's also good to finally get like the foot back on the pedal and start releasing again. I'm excited for people to hear it.
It's a great song.
Thank you.
And then Richard, how is it collaborating with artists like Julian? I mean, compared to your rock and roll roots, it's very different.
My rock roots. It's very similar, actually. It's a lot of Dropbox.
Yeah.
It's a lot of send me what you got, maybe tweak this, mess with that kind of stuff. Emails and texting. Back in the day, we would get into a room together and we would all kind of flesh out ideas as a rock band. But even back in the beginning of my career with Filter, when I left 9 Inch Nails, I had an 8-track and I had a Emax sampler and I had a little Mac SE computer, and we went crazy. And bought a $4,000 gigabyte hard drive.
Oh, wow.
Gigabyte hard drive. But yeah, that was Short Bus. This is how old I am, people. But Short Bus was written in 1994, but it was all home recording. So it wasn't really fleshed out into a band per se. It was more of what home recording is today. And now, when you look at Billie Eilish and Julian, it's a home studio. You're bedroom studios. That's primarily what I've been doing for the past 35 years. I go to studios like this every once in a while to record drums, but everything else can be recorded right in my home. Julian and I met basically online. It was a how to get a Res
sound like
Res, because I just discovered Res and I thought she was amazing, and I was interested in how she got her sounds, and he had this whole little video on how she got one of her sounds. And
that was on the YouTube days when I was releasing a lot of videos back then.
On YouTube. And then I just reached out. I just reached out like, hey, what's up? I'm Richard Patrick. Like, how did you create this and when did you? And it turns out he lived 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Meant to be.
Yep.
And we just met, and then we stayed in contact. He came to a couple Filter shows.
Right.
We played around town. Lo and behold, he was like, well, what about collaborating on something? He sent me over the music to out here the song, and it was by far some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. It was beautiful. Just
Thank you.
An amazing bed of just this hypnotic music. And it reminded me of some music that I had heard back in the 90s by Coil. Lyrically, I just approached it in my youth, I would go to the desert and drop a bunch of mushrooms and get psilocybin out there and come back inspired. And one time I went to the Grand Canyon and like decided like, shit, I'm gonna quit Nine Inch Nails. You know, like
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna quit and start Filter. And it was a huge moment in my life.
How old were you then?
I was 25, 26.
Wow.
So yeah.
You met me at like a remarkable point because I was like just out of high school. I had moved to LA and crashed on like friends' floors I met on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like around the time we initially connected. So you met me at this like very early stage.
Yeah.
How many years
There's been
ago?
a lot of development since. We actually initially connected, I think, in 2017, something like that.
And you just got out of high school?
I was just out of high school
Wow.
in 2015. I moved to LA at 18, pursued the thing. I had the most cliche Hollywood story. Miraculously, it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he met me right around that time.
Yeah, and it was his instructional videos.
Yeah.
I had kind of abandoned my own studio tech, like engineering skills, because I worked with so many producers that it kind of took care of everything. And so when I got back into production on my own, I needed help. So YouTube was my kind of saving grace to like relearn software like Logic Pro X and Pro Tools and
all the synthesizers.
all the synthesizers and all the
Yeah.
different, you know, and
Well, I hope that my stuff has somehow influenced the filter material on
it
this
has.
latest record of yours.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you take a course or was it just
No,
online video?
I just kind of ping ponged around different people. There's this guy called Music Tech Help Guy, and he's amazing. He goes through all the Logic stuff, and yeah, YouTube is awesome.
It is.
I've like fixed my garbage disposal with YouTube.
Of course.
I was gonna
Like-
say the internet is wild. You can
Yeah.
learn everything on the
Yeah,
internet.
it's kind of been wild to kind of tap it as a resource. Like I have this guitar player friend from Connecticut. His name is Zach Unowitz. He's this insane guitar player, and like I found him on Instagram, and I was like, dude, I gotta sing over your crazy guitar playing. And so he actually co-wrote a bunch of songs on the Algorithm that came out last year. The new record.
New filter
The
record.
new filter record is called The Algorithm. It came out last year.
Go stream it.
And go stream it. It's awesome. So yeah, he wrote 3 songs on that record, and he's writing 2 songs for the next.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you also do guitar on this record? I mean, on this track?
Yeah.
No, I
A
did
little bit.
A little
A
bit.
little bit.
Yeah, just like a little like atmospheric stuff.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
signature like atmospheric tone that you bring
Yeah.
to the table.
And this song is way more ad-libbed and
Yeah.
kind of spontaneous. When I was recording it, we
Free
weren't.
flow,
We tried to actually go back and like add choruses and verses,
verses
like
and stuff.
like a
need
song,
it.
like an actual song,
Mhm.
but it didn't gel.
It
So-
took away from how esoteric the original was,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And we like that. We like that esoteric.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful song.
Thank
and
you.
I was gonna say, were you on mushrooms when you sang?
No, I
You can
haven't.
keep that off the record.
I haven't done a drug or had a beer in 21 years. Yeah, I'm sober.
Me too.
Yeah, I had to get.
Good
I had
for
to
you
get
guys.
sober. Oh, you stopped drinking?
I never did.
Oh,
actually.
well, yeah.
Don't start. Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not. It
Well.
turns out it's not that good for you.
There's a new wave, I think, going on sober.
Mm.
It's kind of the cool thing now. You did kind of answer that question. I was going to ask, like, take us back to the beginning. But,
Right.
you know, what made you guys decide to really want to work on this track together? Like, what was there like a light bulb moment? You're like, I need him to sing on this track.
I think it was just kind of spontaneous. We were in the right place at the right time. We connected over some other stuff, and we were living near each other. So we were like, why don't we try to write something? Yeah.
Nice.
I remember you sent me some other ideas too. I mean, those never materialized, but this was the one that kind of stuck.
Will there be any live performances happening with you coming out for a
God,
set?
that'd be killer.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Did I just give you that idea?
Hey,
Might happen.
maybe. Yeah,
I've been known to show up.
Yeah, we've both been
You
on
should.
tour, and they're just about to go on tour. with
Yeah, I'm
Filter.
actually headed out with Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, and Ministry on
Nice.
a Freaks on Parade tour starting August 20th.
And I'm doing a bunch of club dates and that sort of thing, and I'm doing Dream State this year.
It's crazy how
later
different.
this year.
How different it is touring
Different,
versus DJ.
different energy, but
producing.
it's the same story, really. Yeah.
That was actually going to be my next question. I mean, you're playing at Dream State in November.
Yes.
And I just want to know, if you were to imagine that version of you that just started out in your career, what feelings would come up for you if you could see your name on that lineup, especially on main stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to again, when we first met, I was a completely different musician. I had just gotten out of high school. I'd pursued this dream to Hollywood and was sleeping on floors. And I think that, seeing my name in a marquee with Above and Beyond and artists like that would be surreal to me at that point. So this is probably one of the bigger shows I've ever played. I've done EDC, EDC Orlando, but never on a stage at that scale. I'm playing the main stage this year at Dream State, which is awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine how I would feel about it, but I definitely would be very grateful.
Maybe shed a tear or two.
Yes, maybe.
So I know we could probably expect to hear a lot of Contrast. Yes. But what else can fans expect at Dream State to hear?
Well, I'm obviously going to play all of the big songs out here as well, of course. And then I plan to debut. I've been building a audio-visual experience live set for Contrast. It's kind of a good example is maybe a Maddie on Good Faith kind of inspired Daft Punk Alive kind of thing where you have video and audio fully synchronous and very developed. I've been working with this awesome group of creatives. And we're going to debut a version of that at Dream State. I'm not sure if we're going to get the whole thing there, but at least to some degree. So you're going to expect a really cool show, I think.
Amazing. That was also my next question. So you answered that. It seems like just the beginning of all you're set to achieve.
Yes.
What's next after Contrast? Where do you see yourself in a few years' time?
Honestly, I'm not sure. This is the main thing on my mind right now is this album. We'll see where the tides take us. Yeah.
It took you to Dream State, so the sky's the limit, right?
And collaborating with this guy.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, this was lovely.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Bye.
All right.